Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are right on time to start this webinar. Thank you all for taking time to join us today. We are excited to have you here for today's session. In this session, we will learn how to manage client sites with AI using Cloudways MCP. My name is Danish, and I am the part of the community team here at Cloudways, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Whether you are joining from any part of the world, we are here to share the knowledge and make this time valuable for you. And we are excited to show you something that can make managing client infrastructure much faster and easier. Before we get start, there are a couple of quick things I need to share. We will share the recordings with you. We will share the presentation link with you as well. And hopefully we will share the form with you as well, where we will ask some information from you all. So we will share all of these things with you. The Q&A session is open. You can share the questions in the comment section. We will take care all the questions once we complete the slides and the demo as well. And the presenter for today's webinar is Saad Ahmed. Saad is a senior product manager at Cloudways. So today's session is focused on Cloudways MCP and how agencies can use natural language to manage their Cloudways infrastructure without writing code or navigating multiple dashboards. So instead of talking only about features, we are going to walk through real agency scenarios, the use cases that we build for agencies, and Saad will show you the demo and all the details. So before moving forward, I again request you all, please share the questions in the comment section. And I think we are right on time to start this webinar. I would like to call Saad. Saad, the stage is yours. Please start the presentation and walk us through the entire process.
Thank you, Danish, for introducing me, and thank you, everyone, for joining today's webinar. Let me just begin the presentation. So hopefully you guys are able to see my screen. So
Yes.
we would be talking about Cloudways MCP, what's this all about, and how to integrate Cloudways MCP, and we will try to learn about through some of the use cases that how Cloudways MCP functions, how you guys can solve real life day-to-day problem scenarios, processes that you guys run on your accounts. So what is Cloudways MCP? So Cloudways MCP is basically a way for you to use your AI agents, any AI agent that supports MCP, like Claude Code, Cursor, Gemini, any other tool out there that supports the MCP integration, and use Cloudways MCP to perform tasks, through prompts, through natural language, instead of interacting through Cloudways platform via clicks, via navigation, etc., etc. So what are the main components of Cloudways MCP? Cloudways MCP revolves around what we call API integration. That's basically scoped access mechanism through which you can perform certain actions in a way that enables you to either retrieve the information, either write the information. Yeah. So and you can revoke the access of the Cloudways MCP to your Cloudways account anytime when you want. So let's see a bit on the platform as well. How does that look like? So this is my account on Cloudways platform, and to give you a quick glimpse, we will definitely be diving deep into the Cloudways MCP integration. But on the API integration side, this is how the whole page looks like. And later on in the slides, we will see how can you create your access token, how that would look like, and how that would tie up with the Cloudways MCP working overall. So you can do server and app operations through Cloudways MCP just by giving simple commands like resize my server, clone my server, provision my server, or just restart my server. You can do whole deployments as well, and we will see this in the demo as well. So we have designed our Cloudways MCP server in such a way that it is based on the MetaTool architecture. What that means is it efficiently consumes your AI agent tokens, because the AI agents consume the LLM that's being used by the AI agent consumes the tokens. So those tokens are based on some plans that you guys will have, right? So in order to save the token consumption, we have we have packaged our whole Cloudways platform, you can say, tools into 62 tools, most used operations, and the rest of the capabilities are packaged under a single capability. So whenever, let's say, you are doing something that is not being done often, right? So our Cloudways MCP server looks that up on demand and doesn't, and builds up the context. It doesn't look up every now and then to save the token time and consumption. And for the newbies who are new to Cloudways MCP or the MCP itself, the MCP integration is a one-time connection. So you don't have to do it again and again and again for every action or every operation that you perform. So that what's about the Cloudways MCP. So how does the tokens tie up to the Cloudways access tokens tie up to the Cloudways MCP? So there's a difference between those who are old customers of Cloudways used to have seen our API integration page have an API key, which used to be a single API key and performing all sorts of operations there. So it didn't have any granular control. It was a single key. If you revoke it, and if you have shared with 10 other people or 10 other developers, let's say, so it was a revoke for all. There was no, read write capability for that key. So we have recently shifted to access token mechanism, and access token mechanisms help to provision limited access of read only access or read write access as the account owner wants, for himself, or for his team members that are working with him on projects. So these granular controls are tied up with Cloudways MCP to ensure that the interaction that you have with the AI agents are done in a very controlled manner. It doesn't go full flesh on and doing stuff that you don't want. So we will see in action how these tokens are made and how these are integrated with Cloudways MCP. So breaking it down, the Cloudways LCP has access tiers, as I talked about. And these access tiers are based on tokens. That's a read only. You can view server and app status, monitor statistics. No write actions are permitted. Limited, in which you can grant certain access endpoint accesses, certain operational accesses. So, and it depends upon the motivation the individual has to performing that operation. So, and it can be revoked anytime. And full access is very similar to giving the full account access. So moving on. So how Cloudways MCP operates? So what's the end-to-end, how things look like, right? So if you can see, there is an agent on the left-hand side, extreme left, which can be Claude, Cursor, or any other tool. And that agent is integrated or have an integration or a connection with the Cloudways MCP server. The MCP server has all the tools that are required for performing the operation on Cloudways platform. So let's take an example. I want to delete my server. So I go to my AI agent, let's say Cursor, for example, and I say, please delete this server named client server. And I hit enter. So when that prompt is sent to the MCP server, MCP server looks up the tool that is required to complete that operation, right? So that's where the MetaTool architecture comes. We have the frequently used tools that through which minimum context, through minimum context, LLM basically decipher that prompt and make the tool that is responsible for deletion of server available, and it simultaneously check if you have the right permissions to do it. Let's say if your developer is doing that kind of operation and you have given only read only access to him, so that operation would be halted there and then. So if you have the right permissions to do that operation, then it would proceed further. And after that, it will go on to the Cloudways platform and that action, and it basically starts execution. And once that execution is done, the state changes happened on the Cloudways platform, and the prompt is and the response of the prompt is returned to the AI agent that the server has been deleted successfully. So this is how Cloudways MCP operates. So let's now deep dive into the demo. First, we will look into how Cloudways MCP, basically is integrated, how to use it. So, for just FYI, we have recorded the whole scenario for the purpose of, any hiccups being happening during the presentation. So, and to speed things up, where certain processes take times to complete, right? So, in this demo, we would be looking at how can we create an access token. So to grant our MCP server appropriate permissions. So we have gone into the API integration section where where the existing users would be seeing the legacy API key as well. New users will only see the access token. And if you want to create an access token, you can name it, you can set expiry to it, and you can set a scope for it. That if you want limited access, want full scope access, or read-only access. The expiration ranges from 1 day to 1 year, and the scopes are limited, full, and read-only. We have given disclaimers here as well that creating a full access token results in what, and read-only access does what. So in limited access, you can see there are endpoints or tools, you can say, that a user can choose for his MCP server, and that MCP server will only perform actions in that limited domain. So, and we would be in our Cloudways roadmap, we have lineup of bringing all the tools and capabilities on this on our access token creation page, like management of add-ons, management of agency OS, and all the other tools as well. So, as you can see, the access token has been created. This is the token secret that you will be keeping safe. This is only displayed one time, and after the acknowledgement, you can just click on done. So you can copy it, paste it somewhere safe, and we are good to go. So the token has been created, and as you can see, we in the listing section of the access token, you would have the name, um, the scope of which the token has the ability to perform its actions, the date it was created at, and the last use. This is important because whenever an action is performed, this area is updated, this date is updated, that when was the token last used, so that you could keep in check that whether any token was exposed. Let's say you haven't been using it for a week, right? And this says that it has been used last night, right? So you can take action and revoke it. And how many days are left for its expiry. So you can edit it as well, that you can rename it or extend its expiry, and you can just simply revoke it as well. So that's the first part. We are good. We are now done with creating an access token. So moving on to the second part of the demo, where we will integrate it with an AI agent. For the purpose of demonstration, I'm using Cursor, and this is our KB article. So, and in our KB article, we share that what are the large language models that Cloudways recommends, and what are the, and we have shared guides for the AI agent as well for, and that how to do the MCP integration with the AI agent. So, and these are the headers that would need to be added for the successful configuration. But don't be scared of these headers because this is something that anyone can do. And in our guide, we have made it very simple that you can just need to click on the install in cursor button, and once it is installed it will make you land on the cursor's installation MCP server installation page. And on the MCP server page you will just need to copy that access token that you have made and paste it here. It is as simple as that. There's no extra configuration that you need to do. So once it is added, cursor just takes few seconds to add it integration successfully. So let me um, fast forward it. So as you can see in the tools and MCP section, you can see Cloudways is now Cloudways MCP server is now integrated. It has listed all the most used tools here, and all the sub tools that are less frequently used are under the single tool that can be called on demand to save the tokens. So MCP integration is now done. We have created the access token. MCP integration is now done. Now let me open the Cloudways platform side by side to see things in action. So I'm opening my Cloudways account. This is my Cloudways account, and on my Cloudways account, these are my servers. So let me put a very simple prompt here to please list my servers to get just see how things are rolling out. And mind you, I have created full access token for this demonstration so that I can showcase you guys the most used capabilities that I have chosen for this webinar. So as you can see, it has listed both of my servers, DigitalOcean servers in the NY63 region. So let's move forward. So let's assume you have one of the most use case that frequently appears on your platform, that is on your servers, that is the disk space getting full, right? So if a disk space is getting full and I'm worried that how can I fix it, right? So let's take help of Cloudways MCP and see how does it help us. So on the platform, as you can see on the right hand side, is fetching my disk usage, and I can see my disk usage is around 38, approximately 38, 38, 39 GB consumed. So where it is going, right? I can use the platform to look into details, right? Navigating to many sections, looking into many details, right? But I can also just put a prompt there and see what does it tell me, right? And let's take the help of AI to see what does it do, right? I just say to share the results with me. I have not said to take any action, right? So let's see what does it bring me. I'm fast forwarding it for the results. So as you can see, when it is fetching the results, it is saying that approximately 39 GB is consumed, 9 GB is left. So approximately 9 GB is left. So, and my app, I have only a single app there. So, and that single app is only consuming 100 MB. So where the all the space is, right? That's the dilemma most of the times we hear on the support chats as well, that users comes to us and say that where my space has gone, right? I have not used anything. So where that is going. So I need to know. So so let's fast forward. So as you can see, it has shared the results with me, and it is saying that in the private HTML folder that's under my app, it has gone into that and shared that certain logs are taking around 10 GB, around 30 GB space. So, and that's where the most of the consumption is being done. So it has given me the complete detail and where it is being consumed. And it has asked me, like you can see in the bottom last line, that want me to run disk cleanup to reclaim the 31 GB, because we have a disk optimization feature, right, on Cloudways platform. So do I want to run that? So I have asked it to please run disk optimization on my server and clean space up. I can ask it to clean that. Let's say if I want to remove a certain file, I can ask that as well. But I have run the whole disk optimization feature. So, and let's see what does it do. So cleanup reported success and verifying free space on the server now. So the root, the operating system on 10 GB logs are 10 logs are there. Other than that, space is freed. So as you can see, it has shared with me the complete summary that before it was 39 GB, now it's 8.5 GB, free space is 8.7 GB, and utilization of storage has been dropped from 82% to 18%. So let's see on the platform as well that how things look like. So as you can see, 8.36 GB has been cleaned. So wow, Cloudways MCP does wonders. So let's move on to the next use case. So I have an app, right? And let's say I have set up an app and I want to do a complete security posture of how the things look like on my app, that how secure it is, are there any vulnerabilities present, what's the scenario looks like, right? So I have given a Cloudways MCP the command to use WordPress, our vulnerability scanner that we offer for free on WordPress apps, right? So use that and scan my app. That's an app on my MCP webinar server, and share with me the severity scores. So how do things look like, right? I can also just use the platform and visit there, right? But I can use a single prompt to get that information. So, and if I want for multiple apps, I can do that as well. So that saves time. So as you can see, WordPress core is clean. All the other apps are up to date. My themes are up to date. Plugins are up to date. So let's say I want to review the firewall settings of my server, right? And want to see if anything permissive is enabled or not, right? So let's see what does it tell us, because these things are most of the time such cases where we tend to explore these kind of areas when certain situation has happened to us, right? So we can use certain prompts that we will provide to you guys to accelerate your experience with us, make your experience safer with the online hosting, and use those capabilities to make your website secure and as much as possible. So as you can see, the SSH SFTP policies to allow anyone can make an attempt, a brute force attempt to SSH onto my server. So that's allowed. I can disallow it and allow certain IPs to access my server, right? Read password protection on the server level is also enabled. That's on the security firewall settings. So that's also not enabled, it's off. And the request limit, uh, that how many IPs can visit my server is relatively low. So these are the certain examples, or you can say certain output it has shared with me that I can take action on it. So moving forward, I can ask him simple as that can you share the XML RPC status of my application and disable it if it is enabled? Because if none of my dev is working on it, I can just disable it and keep my app secure. So it has shared the XML RPC settings off. So let's take another example. So SSL installation is very critical part of day-to-day hosting, right? I just asked him that on my app, that's on the MCP webinar, if it has the domain on it has SSL installed or not. If it doesn't have SSL installed, please use this email address and when installing the Let's Encrypt SSL. So it has went ahead and start installing the SSL. So just imagine you have 10 apps, 15 apps, 20 apps, and all on all of those apps you have to do SSL installation one by one, or use the conventional methods of API, use the endpoints, create a batch script or any script, and use the automation to do it, right? Now, with the help of MCP, you can use the prompt and use MCP workflows to enhance your productivity of setting things up, right? So SSL is being installed, and once installed, one of the common things that usually happens is, let's encrypt auto renewal. Is it enabled? So I will ask MCP to check that out as well, that whether let's encrypt auto renewal is enabled or not. So although that auto renewal is on at the moment, but let me ask that as well for just for the safekeeping. So fast forwarding it. So yeah, it's enabled. So let's all move on to the next part of the demo. So in this part of the demo, let's say I want to onboard a client. So, onboarding a client usually uh, from end to end, it moves like launching a server, creating an app, you know, having a WordPress app, setting things up, adding a domain, installing SSL, and if that client has, his code on another WordPress app, you have to do the migration, or if it's on GitHub, you have to do the Git deployment, or, pull the code from there, paste it there, use any method to make the files migrate from one place to another, right? So in this demo, we will see things out how that if I want to onboard a client, how can I do it with Cloudways MCP? So I have given Cloudways MCP a prompt to launch a new server, DigitalOcean 2 GB in New York, called client server with a WordPress app called client app. So it has gone ahead and now trying to launch a server. So let's move forward. Because most of you guys know that launching a server takes some time to complete because it's doing all the optimization and everything. So on side by side, I have refreshed my CloudWatch platform as well, and where you can see that the operation is in progress. It's waiting for about 2 minutes to complete. So it has been completed, but the Cloudways MCP is just still waiting for around 2 minutes it takes to do the next polling, you know, do the next kind of a ping to the operation tool where it calls the tool and makes the call to see whether the operation has completed or not. So so it has just completed its poll, and the status is has been shared that the provisioning is finishing the server and app details, and it has shared that the provider the provision server details, whether it's running or not, what's the IP address and everything. Now the next prompt would be like assign a project to it. So I would create a new project for my client and add this app to that project so that my uh, client's server and app are tidy up in a different project. So as you can see on the platform, I'm just refreshing it to let you guys know that here you can see that the my client is associated with the my client project, which I just made. So let's say, for example, I want to my client's code is on GitHub, right? So and it has he has asked me to fetch that code or migrate that code from there. So one of the capabilities that Cloudways offers is of the Git deployment. So we would see in action how things look from that perspective. So I have asked Cloudways MCP to generate a deploy key that is basically the key used for pulling the files from GitHub to your server. That's added to the GitHub. So it's generating that deploy key, and that's basically a public key, and that public key would be added to the GitHub repository of Win. So as you can see, uh, a public key has been generated, and this is my repo. And in the settings, in the deploy key section, I would add the deploy key. I will name it MCP webinar, and I can ask it for write access, but since we would be pulling the code, we just need the read access. So, and my code has a PHP info file. So just for the demonstration purposes, I have kept it. So now I'm telling Cloudways MCP that I have added the public key. Now clone the repository and into my app. So it has asked me to share the repository URL as well. So there's a repository URL. So the clone of that is finished. So every time I want to pull the latest files from there, I can just ask Cloudways MCP to pull the latest content. So as you can see, the file is now opening on my app URL. So I can also, at the very last, I can ask Cloudways MCP to set the backup frequency of the server and with 7-day retention. So it's going about that and doing just that to set up the backup frequency of the server. And it is turning the local backups on as well. So that's about it about the demo. But more ways to use Cloudways MCP. You can restart any services. You can purge every cache layer from varnish to object cache. Find actual bottlenecks like slow PHP pages, MySQL queries, or cron jobs that are failing. It can bring that information to you. Bot attack versus real traffic statistics, where you're observing more traffic, whether it's legit or not. You can pull that kind of information there, and you can do one-click rollback as well of the backup for a particular app. So questions and answers now. Um,
Yeah. Thank you so much, Saad, for the excellent presentation and live demonstration. I hope everyone found today's session valuable and got a clear understanding of how cloud-based MCP can simplify infrastructure management for agencies and development teams. So, Saad, ready yourself for the Q&A session as we have multiple questions. First of all, thanks to you for the presentation, and now we can jump on a Q&A session. Just a reminder for everyone who is on the call, we will share the recordings with you. We will share the presentation link with you as well in the post and email. So let's quickly start the Q&A session. So, so the first question is from Jerry. He's asking when Cloudways MCP is enabled, how many token does it add to the input context?
yeah, Jerry. The input context basically depends upon the LLM being used in the AI agent. So the input context is kept as minimum as possible because of the MetaTool architecture. We have the 63 most used rule that are loaded into the input text by default, and the rest of the around 167 tools that are looked up on demand. So the input context from the start is kept as minimum as possible, and any information around a certain tool, if it is not found by the LLM around in the Cloudways MCP server, then it goes on to query that additional tool list and try to find that appropriate tool.
All right, the next question is from Adam. He is asking, can we use our own Claude or ChatGPT API key for LLM, or are we using and buying Cloudways LLM token?
No, no, no. You can use your own LLMs as well as the LLMs that comes with Cursor, Claude, top tier AI providers. So you don't have to buy from Cloudways.
The next question is from Talha Saad. He is asking if Claude Code or Cursor accidentally executes an incorrect command, will automatic backups and a one-click rollback option be available?
Yeah, Talha, that's a very excellent question. So just to add, there are two parts. First is the access token part. We have introduced that for this very purpose. That if you think that you or your team member might accidentally do that, or you are just testing the water level out of the NCP, then you can use access token for read only purpose, or with limited access. But to answer your question, that somehow you have given yourself the privileges to perform certain actions, right? And you accidentally gave the prompt that you might not have given, or your intent was different. So for destructive or deletion actions, top tier LLMs usually ask for confirmation first, that confirm to proceed, you know. So, and it asks you to ask you every time, or allow every time. So whenever a destructive action is performed, the LLM itself asks you to confirm whether to proceed or not. And if you gave LLM the permission, you know to ask every time, it will ask you that. And if you said that, I have full confidence in you and you can go about executing every command, then definitely it will go about that. And yes, if, let's say, for example, your server or app was deleted, you can definitely roll it back because we have 15 days backup available.
I hope, Tala, you got the answer. The next question is Jeffrey from Jeffrey. He's asking, how do these AI actions affect CPU usage?
Yeah, Jeffrey, these are not some processes that are running on your Cloudways server. These are normal operations that, take an example. You click on add server, right? An operation is created and an operation gets in progress. You are just doing that, click and start operation from natural language. Just That's just about that. It doesn't live on your server. It just initiates an operation on your server, just like you do when you interact with Cloudways platform.
Perfect. The next question is from Adam. He's asking, what MCP tools did you find more valuable as MCP than what is available via SISH CLI or that can only be done with MCP LLM? I
So
can-
the top most that our users use are Windsurf, Gemini Code, and Gemini CLI Code Cloud, and the next one was Cursor. These were the top five that our users are using, and they're definitely finding it most valuable and most easy to use. And for as I said, Claude Code is available that you can do and use it from there. And just to give you guys a heads up, MCP would be coming for our OpenClaw offering as well. So it is already there. You can do it via SSH, but it would be we will be bringing it on the platform as well, that you can launch your own AI agent and integrate Cloud with MCP there.
Perfect. So the next question is from Cormac. Does the MCP work with team login accounts?
No, no, no. It just works with the primary account holder at the moment. Cormac, I get your point. Team, getting your team members started on this is very crucial. That capability of giving or assigning access token capability to a team member, or giving the team member a capability to interact with Cloudways MCP. So they can, but you have to give them you have to create the access token, then share that secret key with that team member, and then they will be able to do about it. That's a long route about to go at the moment, but to bring that full-fledged functionality, customer-centric functionality on the platform, we are working on that, and we would be introducing that on the platform.
Cormac also asked different question as well. He's asking like when creating a server, does it auto default to Lightning stack or can it choose between Lightning and hybrid? And also, uh, can you choose between MariaDB and MySQL?
Yeah, definitely, Cormac. That's a very good question. So, I have been interacting with Cursor. So, in the demo, you guys might not have seen the prompts it gives, but when creating a server, when let's say just say that you want to create a server, right? You haven't given a provider, you haven't given the server size, you haven't given the what stack do you want, what server series do you want, CPU optimized general purpose or standard. So it asks you all of that questions, and after that it launches a server. I have been playing with that with Cursor a lot in the last few days, and I have developed some rules that I want to choose these settings by default, and I would just give you the server size in the region. So that's why it hasn't asked, but it does ask.
Cool. So we have a anonymous participant asking when will the new MCP access token also work for the API? Trying to get ahead of it as the API key are being depreciated.
It is already there on the platform. You can interact with it.
Okay. Another question from Muhammad Murtaza. Uh, can this service work on the WordPress level, like optimizing Breeze for better core web vitals results?
No, unfortunately not, Murtaza. It only does what you can already do on the Cloudways platform. That's the feature level interaction. It doesn't go beyond that, like plugin configuration or management or optimization, things like that. It at this stage, we do plan to introduce certain products that offer you that kind of capability in very near term. So believe me, they are just coming right around the corner. So, but Cloudways MCP itself will just do what you usually do, but in a, using the
higher
natural
prompt.
language.
Hmm. So the next question is from CD. Can we also use this to set or customize PM memory and other memory allocations, maybe per site or per server?
You can definitely like there is WordPress PHP configuration, right, under the application settings that you can do, that you can definitely do through Cloudways MCP, but and through per app as well, that you can definitely do by giving the prompt. So per site, and but not at the server level as well. The option is also present on the server to change the memory limit. So you can do that.
Okay. So the next question is from Paul. He is asking, can you confirm clearly whether Cloudways MCP and the creation and use of access tokens are included free with all existing Cloudways hosting accounts with no separate MCP subscription, token charge or API usage free?
They are completely free. As clear as it gets, it's completely free.
Perfect. Uh, so there is another question from Jerry. Are are these plans to Are there any plan to extend the Cloudways API to wrap WP CLI so we can manage our WordPress websites via the API or MCP?
There are no immediate plans around that because we are bringing certain experiences around, experiencing WordPress manager management in a whole different level. But we can definitely add it on the roadmap to get it out for you. I would definitely love to hear the use case. So I would love to, Jerry, I would love to hear your thoughts on feedback.cloudways.com. A use case based feedback would definitely would be much appreciated.
Also, Jerry, what you can do is when we send the post event email, you can just reply to me in the email. So I will share your feedback with the product team. I will share the use case, and whenever I have the answer, I will share it with you. So the next question is from Adam. Can I create a reusable workflow like backup, then deploy, then clear cache, then run health check and expose that as a single MCP tool?
Obviously, this can be done, but not through it being a single MCP tool. Uh, uh, Cursor itself, the AI agent itself would create a workflow around that in itself, but it wouldn't create that as a tool that stores in the Cloudways MCP server that can be called every time. You can have it created as a rule that can be triggered every time, by using a cache phrase or any keyword that you can associate with it.
Perfect. So Talha asking, are there any official documents for connecting this MCP? So if we get stuck, we can get the help. So I think we have
Yeah,
the KB and all the articles. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And Tala, just to add, we are on the way to, create numerous blocks around the use cases that you can use to increase the productivity of your day-to-day interaction with Cloudways. We have already published three, and many more are to come. They will have all the prompts needed. You just have to review that blog and try to use it.
Perfect. Uh, we are done with the question and answer session, and I would like to thank Scott as well. He is answering multiple queries as well. So thanks to Scott as well. This is it from our end. I would really like to thank you all for joining us today and for the great questions throughout the session. We appreciate you taking the time to be here. If we did not get any questions, so don't worry, we will send the post event email so you can ask the question there as well. A few quick reminders before we wrap up. We will send the email with a webinar recording link and the presentation link. If you would like to explore the Cloudways MCP further, Keep an eye in your inbox. I will send the post webinar email, including all the details. We would also love to hear your feedback on this webinar, and if you all want to continue this webinar series on MCP on other topics as well, feel free to share the feedback. So we will make sure to arrange those webinars for you. I would again thanks to all for joining this webinar and Saad for the wonderful presentation. On behalf of everyone at Cloudways, thank you again for joining us. Have a wonderful day or evening. Uh, we will back with another insightful webinar. Till now, take care everyone and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye.